name is Pedro Espada, Jr. I'm Vice President of the Senate for Urban Policy and Chairman of the Housing Committee in the New York State Senate. And it's my pleasure to be here accompanied by many in the affordable housing community, advocates, people who develop affordable housing, residents and leaders in the New York City Housing Authority, housing projects throughout the city of New York. Today we unveil a two-pronged strategy and plan to deal with not only affordable housing for poor and working class families, but also we understand that affordable housing always is an economic stimulus. Affordable housing always creates jobs right away. And so in this economic crisis, we ask several things. We ask that the economic stimulus package of over almost $400 million go directly to where it's supposed to go, and that is toward restoration of New York City public housing infrastructure, elevators, heaters, boilers, to make the modernization that counts for the quality of life of people who live in NYCHA. 170,000 units are affected citywide. Regrettably though, of that 170, 20,000 are state operated, and thusly they will not benefit from this. So today we call upon all of us in state government, local government, but most importantly the federal government, to support the Schumer Velazquez bill that would federalize all housing sites. Why should we have our tax dollar with the federal brand on it, not support citizens that live in the same housing as our brothers and sisters in federally subsidized units, but for the fact that they're state subsidized and state built, they will not get new heaters, they will not get new boilers, they will not get new elevators. And so this bill, the Schumer Velazquez bill, must become law, and then everyone will be subject to the same standards, the same quality of housing that we all deserve. Also, I'm very proud of the efforts of the Democrats in the state Senate, and their efforts. We restored over $3 million of the operating subsidy that New York City Housing Authority so desperately needs. We accomplished that in the 08-09 budget, and now we know that we faced the challenges in the 09-10 budget, but we're very, very committed to making sure that public housing, the New York City public housing, which has always been the cradle of housing for the poor and working class, remain that way and remain under one standard, and that is a standard of excellence that 75 years ago shepherded in many immigrants into this great city and gave them their first quality housing. Today our mission has not changed and will continue full throttle in that endeavor. Thank you for being here. This is one of many initiatives that we'll undertake as your new champion of affordable housing in New York State. Thank you very much. I'll now answer any questions for the assembled media.
What's the likelihood you can get this through?
Well, I think it's very likely. The federal government is clearly, under President Obama's administration, clearly interested in making sure that the housing is preserved, housing is modernized, and this bill, the Schumer Velazquez bill, it's only fair, and the time is now, and I'm sure that our federal legislators will move quickly on it.
What sort of action can we expect on vacancy decontrol in the state?
We will have bills introduced into the state Senate, I believe, when we reconvene after this short break. We will have public hearings, but there'll be, firstly, a focus on restoring $200 million that the executive budget has removed from affordable housing efforts. We're on a tight timeline for that. Our conference wants to partner with Sheldon Silver and the executive to bring in an on-time budget. We know what the economic stimulus package will do. We know we have to move on increasing revenue from perhaps other sources, and that will be dealt with as well. And we also know that we have to cut back our spending in this state, because we can't depend on one-shot deals anymore.
Do you support raising the limit for vacancy decontrol or eliminating it entirely?
I will react to the bills before my committee. There's one thing that you need to know about the new transparent style of leadership in the state Senate. For too long, there have been chair people and people in positions of power that made their minds up as to what was going to appear on the floor, as to what was going to pass. We have full opportunity in state Senate now, and we will take those issues one at a time with full transparency and the ability of all members to make up their mind in short order.
Because as you know, there's a lot of concern. This has been a big priority for Democrats over the years, but there's concern that now that Democrats actually have control, you're not pushing at full speed ahead.
Well, I'll just remind you that we started, our first vote was January 7th, and our first vote was to make Senator Smith majority leader, and it's only been a month, so I think we need a little more time. We have a lot of balls that we're juggling, and we don't want to drop any of them. And I think over the next several months you will see that we'll be focused on preserving affordable housing and delivering a fair and equitable budget to all of New York State.
My question. Right now, with the condition that the state developments are in right now,
Yes.
what could be done right now? You have intercom problem, you have elevator problem, you have people that really have problems. What could we do right now with that? And I don't know what's your timeline right now on turning everything into state federal, but until this happened, what could you do to help us as state?
Well, we're moving quickly to use this money. But number one, remember, we restored $3 million in 08-09 budget, which we're still in, so that all of those repairs can still move forward. Number two, over $400 million are going to come in to service the New York City Housing Authority. And think about this, when we put people in to fix elevators and do repairs, those are people that, if they weren't doing that, will be collecting unemployment checks. So it works together to create jobs and improve the conditions of living in the New York City Housing Authority. That won't stop. It'll only be stimulated by this economic stimulus package and what we do as the federal government to federalize the state units that we're here today to speak on.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, actually, I have a statement and a question. I live in Grand Houses. This is right here in Manhattan, Broadway.
Yes.
I just walked down 17 flights.
Yes.
Okay, I have arthritis in both my knees, and I had to walk down 17 flights. I mean, the elevators have been messed up for the longest time.
Yes.
And they were saying that they fixed it, that it seemed like they fixed it, but every time they fix it, it breaks down. I just would like to know what they're going to do about this right now, actually. What maybe the state, or maybe basically Nydia or the city can do about this right now?
We've met with the chairman, Morales of New York City Housing Authority on that very same issue. We had a public hearing on that, and he's well aware that Nydia needs to be better run. We need to be more responsive to the needs of the residents, and I think he's on the job a couple of months. He provided a strategy for how he would use this economic stimulus money, and he provided a strategy for why we shouldn't cut back on the subsidies. In other words, yes, we got a long ways to go to improve the management of these sites, but we won't make them better by withdrawing the money. So we've got the money back in the budget. We have this new money through the economic stimulus package, and now Nydia needs to prove to you and to state government that they know how to produce with more money.